Hello and congratulations on completed or being close to completing the second week of AC 1320. In this week we have covered Chapter 4 and Chapter 5, which have basically wrapped up those chapters, which we will be navigating around the software that already has data that has been input into it. This is something that will be done when we work in most types of companies because the company will already be set up, and any database program that we will have will generally be taking that data, printing it in different types of reports, saving that data, organizing that data on the system, and then exporting it somewhere else or giving it to somebody else in some type of format that we can present it in. Then we move to Chapter 6. Chapter 6 moving on to us actually starting a business. We are now working on wild water sports, which will be the business that we will be working through the rest of the course. But we will not be using the same data file for the rest of the course, so be careful of that. First time I used this book, I thought we were going to be using the same data file through the whole book. We're not, and it's good that we're not going to be doing that, even though we're going to be working with wild water sports the entire way through, because no matter what happens in Chapter 6, we can then move to Chapter 7, restore the new data file in Chapter 7, allowing us to all start at the same point in time, even if there were some problems in Chapter 6. So therefore, we can still move forward to the next chapter, even if we had some errors or if we didn't complete the prior chapter, even though we're working on the same company, because we're going to be using a new data file each time. So Chapter 6 here, we didn't have to restore a data file because we created a new data file, and that, once again, is something that's not going to happen every time within a business, because when we go to work for a new business, what we do is we set it up, and then we work within the business. Or if we have our own business, we may get someone else to help us to set it up, but once it's up and running, we do the day-to-day operations. Oftentimes, the CPA firm will help to set it up, and then the day-to-day operations will be done by the company, and then the CPA firm can go in and help to fix it, or some other bookkeeper or QuickBooks professional or software professional. But if we know the setup process, that really helps to understand how it works. Going forward, we're going to move on to, of course, Chapter 7 and Chapter 8 using new data files, and you make sure to restore those. And Chapter 7 and Chapter 8 are some of the longer chapters in there, so make sure to carve out some time to do those chapters. And I highly recommend looking at the instructional videos to help with those, because the purchase orders, as well as we're going to have like deposits, security deposits, and those could use some added discussion in terms of why we are doing those types of things in order to get the data to be input within there. And so I highly recommend using that. We will be talking about kind of more of the day-to-day operations that would happen in a business in this area, meaning we're going to enter purchase orders, we're going to enter inventory, we're going to be receiving inventory, making bills, we're going to do payroll. So everything will basically be starting to talk about the kind of the day-to-day operations. Now remember, if you're working within a company, you might only be working in one section of those 4 sections on the home page and not be bouncing around to the entire thing. If you work at a smaller company and you're the bookkeeper, then you may be bouncing around and working in all of it. So keep that in mind as we go. If we take a look at the grade book up here on top at the left-hand side, remember that grades for week 2, including anything that was done in week 1, as well as everything through week 2 that was completed in week 2, should be updated after the close of the week, which happens on Sunday. I have until Tuesday to update the grades. So whether you have late work that you're completing on week 1 or the week 2 information, the grade book should be populated by hopefully around noon on Tuesday. You want to go in here and make sure that it looks like you imagine it to look like. And if anything has not been picked up, if you have either a 0 or something other than full credit, think about picking up that late work on it. You generally can do so. Anything that is done in week 3, whether it be work that was late in prior weeks or whether it be the current work in week 3, should be fully updated by the end of week 3, which ends on not fully updated, but it should be in there by the end of week 3. Anything that is in there by the end of week 3, Sunday, should be fully updated within the gradebook on the following Tuesday by hopefully around noon. So that's it. Congratulations on finishing up the second week.